So first of all, yes, this time that we are in right now, it is a gap. It is a moment, a cosmic moment. It's it's an inflection. It's a time where something, an energy, a wisdom, a change is inserted into our reality. Um, so much so that it becomes physical. It becomes a thing that everyone takes note of. It becomes a global thing, a global event that everyone takes note of, and that takes the world, our consciousness, our awareness into a new world, potentially a different direction, and completely different at times than what we imagined it would be, than where our imagination or our expectations, our experience, our journey, our dreams may have led us prior to that moment. So that's what we're in right now. So it should not really be that unexpected, though we're all a little bit shocked anyway, that everything is changing, that a lot of things appear to be going wrong or not in the direction that we had hoped that they would, that some things seem to be slowing down, stopping, or dropping off the radar, potentially things that we really cared about. And other things are taking precedence and are taking up room in our minds and in our hearts, in our realities, and in how we go about life. So this moment that we are in, this moment will last into the foreseeable future. It will last throughout this lifetime we are in, that you are in. So there will be a variety of different realities, potentially choices, different directions to take, different ways that our journey will manifest, different ways in which time will slide in and out rather than ticking in this linear fashion. So if you pay attention, you will see that really even time and days, moments, minutes, they slide in and out. The future feels like the present. The present feels like a different present. It feels like 50 years ago. Then it feels like a little bit into the future. Then we're back in this present moment. So there's a schism of energies that happen, and they are happening somewhat because of the solar energies that are bombarding the planet. Sun's energies, there are a lot of meteoric influences, as you may have noticed now as well. We're paying attention to that a little bit more, a little bit because our instrumentation allows us to do that now, and a little bit because of this time that we are in. Meteors and different things like that have always been associated since ancient times as messengers. So they don't have to completely impact or decimate the earth to be influential in this time that we are in. So we are being greeted and visited by a variety of messengers. And for now, I'll just leave it at that. You can, if you are a strong believer in angels, you might consider these messengers. If you are a strong believer in beings of other races from other worlds, you may consider that accessibility of this time to this world as messengers. And again, from a very scientific perspective, meteors, and there's a lot happening in our solar system and in the universe and with the sun, and all of this is affecting everything upon the earth, everything, every spectrum of light, every particle, atom, and everything particularly that is carbon-based. And we'll talk about that a little bit too. We are considered carbon-based beings, and we'll see if that's what we will continue to be. We'll talk about that a little bit later today as well. So all of these changes or happenings is where we find ourselves. So it is, it's a moment. It's a moment of endings and beginnings. And it's hard to see the beginnings of things when they're at that stage, but it's easy to see the endings because the endings have had a long life or a long string of beliefs connected to our mind, our experience, our past lives. So they're very, very connected. And so we are attached to these beliefs or experiences. So in times of birth, there are births that take place in a light time, and there are births that take place in a dark time. So this particular birth is one that is considered as taking place in a dark time. Dark does not mean bad. I really want to say that. Great wisdom comes out of darkness, out of the deep. I'll put it that way. Instead of saying the darkness, let's say that great wisdom comes out of the deep, out of the depth of our soul, out of the deep of a woman's body when a child is born, out of the deep blue of the universe when new worlds are born. There is a kind of birth that comes out of the deep, and it comes that way when, in particular, there is a new world that wants to be born, not just a child or a being, but an entirely new world, and potentially a new kind of being for that world, a new order for that world. We're talking really about momentous change or momentous birth. And so that happens at the shift of the ages. I sometimes use the name Aquarian age. I'm a little bit more careful with it now because I try to avoid some of the terms that are too associated with the New Age, or also too associated with science or religion. So I try and steer that middle ground there. But astronomically speaking, and based on the precession of the equinoxes, this is where we are. This is where we are due. So this is a time of a deep birth. And one of the things that mark a deep birth is that it comes at a time where there is very little innocence. So that's a good way to put it. So we are not in an innocent time right now. And I'm not just talking about, yes, we know better about our environment. We knew better. We shouldn't have done this. We shouldn't have, been so dependent on fossil fuels or anything like that. As beings, as human beings, we have now been on the planet long enough that we are not child beings. We are coming into our adulthood. So we are, in essence, shedding our innocence. And so that also comes at a dark time. We cannot call upon the lightness of innocence to say, I don't know who I am or what I'm supposed to do here. There is a part of us that knows. There's a part of us that is ancient, that is aliveness, even if our participation here upon the earth feels like it's less consequential. So all of this ancientness within us is aware, was aware of this shift coming, was aware of the birth at this time, the dark birth, and we cannot pretend to innocence. And what happens if you cannot pretend innocence is that, in essence, you have to buy into the prevalent reality of a time. So that's where we are right now.